Okay, here is the quiz from IED about unit conversion. We're going to go through it, and this will serve as an answer key for you guys to go back and correct and kind of use as a teaching tool. All right, so number one is intended to walk you through kind of the key steps, the process to actually help you a little bit. And I've recorded steps down on the bottom that we can look at. So if I look at that, the first step says to record the 2 units in play. So when you read a problem, convert from feet to inches, you want to record those, and that was already done here, inches and feet for you. Step 2 says look up a known equivalency between these 2 units. Well, inches and feet, they don't even put an equivalency on our PLTW formula sheet for inches and feet because that's such a common one that we should know in high school. But this is what they're talking about, knowing that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So that's step 2. All right, what comes next? Step 3 says to copy the equivalency, so those 2 sides of the equation, copy those 2 sides into a fraction, being careful to place the units on the correct side of the ratio. Okay, well, knowing that we want to go from feet to inches, all right, think of this as a fraction. Feet is currently in the top. We want the feet to cancel, so feet need to go in the denominator so that they cancel out. Okay, because when we multiply, we can diagonally reduce. So if the feet go on the bottom, that means the inches go on top, and then again, that's the inches, so it's 12 inches, and that's the feet, 1 feet. So we copy exactly what we had in part A into part B. It's just now in a fraction. Okay, and then the last thing is just to multiply and simplify. So without even crossing the feet out yet, how about we just go ahead and show it? We multiply a fraction straight across. So this is 0.65, okay, times 12. And then there's also, unit-wise, there's feet times inches. On the bottom, we have 1 times 1 times feet. So 1 times feet. All right, well, now we get to go through and reduce. You can reduce units like numbers. So the feet cancel out and you're left with inches. And just simplify the numbers. So that's 0.65 times 12. And 0.65 times 12 is 7.8. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. 7.8 divided by 1 is 7.8. The inches are there. Okay, so let's do another one. Follow this step.
Sierra Stevens, please report to the main office. Sierra Stevens to the main office.
Okay, so step 1 is to record the 2 units in play. So in this problem, it's miles and kilometers. Meters, not miles. This is not a metric to metric conversion. So I'm just going to record. I have miles and kilometers. Okay, and then it says look up a known equivalency between these 2 units. This is where my formula sheet might come in handy if I don't know. A length, miles are lengths. Here's kilometers, there's miles. Look at that right here. I have kilometers and miles equaling each other. I record these numbers. It's 1 kilometer is equal to the 0.621 miles. Okay, so there I've got that. That was part 2. Part 3, copy exactly what I just wrote into a fraction, into a ratio. Just be careful that we get the right one on top. We're going from miles to kilometers. So miles are what I want to cancel out. So if miles are on the top already, then I have to put the miles from this on the bottom so that they cancel. That means kilometers are on top. Notice miles top and bottom are going to cancel out. Copy your numbers. It's 0.621 miles and 1 kilometer. I've used the exact same 2 values here as I have here. Okay, this gets copied here. Last step is to multiply and simplify. So I have 70.1 times 1, which is just 70.1. And on the bottom, I have 1 times 0.621, which is just 0.621. So really, I have 70.1 over 0.621, and I know that a fraction is really to divide. So this is 70.1 divided by 0.621. Type that into a calculator if you need. All right, you get 112.88 when you round to the nearest tenth. So 112.88, excuse me, kilometers. Miles canceled out. All right, the next one, it's microliters and liters. Oh, look, liters and liters. This one is a metric to metric. But just record this. So micro, if you have to look up the symbol on the table, it's that mu, ml, kind of a scripted L, and L. All right, how you read this table, okay, is when you find micro right here, and that showed me the symbol. It's one of the micro. One micro equals this many of the base unit. So we're talking liters right now. So it's 1 microliter. So write that down. 1 microliter is equal to that power of 10 liters, base unit. So this could be liters, could be meters, whatever. All right, now copy that exactly over here. Be careful. If microliters is what's canceling out, right now it's in the numerator, I need in my conversion factor microliters on bottom, liters on top. Copy the numbers exactly as they are. 1 microliter, 10 to the negative 6 liters. Now I'll deal with that 10 to the negative 6. Okay, now at this point we wrote it, everything's correct. The only thing is I don't really like a negative exponent. You can move a base and its negative exponent to the other side of the fraction. And when you do that, that 10 to the negative 6 becomes 10 to the positive 6. The units don't move. Okay, the microliters have already canceled. So now I really have 12,872 times 1 and the 10 to the 6 on the bottom. So this is actually 12,872 divided by 10 to the 6th. And you're going to get 0.012872. I'm going to pause this and be right back. Okay, the next example, let's get rid of that. The next example, convert 2.1 megabytes into bytes. Notice that it's bytes and bytes, megabytes, but it is metric to metric. And so mega is the capital M, B, I'll just do a lowercase b for bytes. So megabytes and bytes are the two units at play. So we record those. That was step 1, record the 2 units in play. Look up for a known equivalency. Well, if it's bytes and bytes, just a different prefix, then you know you're using your metric prefixes. And so you want to find mega. And again, it's 1 of the prefix. So 1 megabyte equals that power of 10, which is 10 to the 6 bytes. Now we're going to copy this exactly as they appear over here. Being careful to put the correct units in the right place. So megabytes is going to go on the bottom, so it's diagonal. Bytes are going to go on top. Use the same numbers, keep it together. 1 megabyte and 10 to the 6 bytes. Okay, so we just did steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 4 is just to multiply and simplify. This is itself over 1, so the denominator 1 times 1 is 1. On top, I have to do 2.1 times 10 to the 6. If you want to expand 10 to the 6, 10 times itself 6 times, it's a million. Okay, the megabytes cancel out, you're left with bytes. So we really have 2.1 times a million is going to be 2.1 million bytes. All right, and lastly, liters and gallons. So liters and gallons, record the 2 units in play, check. Look up a known equivalency. You might not know this one, but liters and gallons are measuring volume. So right here, 1 liter is equal to 0.264 gallons. So copy that. 1 liter is equal to 0.264 gallons. Okay, now this is exactly what goes here. I got to be careful with my units. Liters are what are going to cancel out. So liters go on the bottom so that they're diagonal. Top, bottom, cancel. Gallons are going to go on top. It was 1 with the liter, 0.264 with the gallons. There you go. I've done steps 1, 2, and 3. Last thing is to go straight across. Liters are gone, so they cancel. So I'm left with 2 times 0.264 over 1 times 1 is 1, and the gallons are left. 2 times 0.264 is 0.528 gallons. There you go. That is your quiz. Please be looking at the pattern of how I've, found A or knew A for the first one. We had to have this known equivalency, the 2 units in play. These values got copied exactly the same into the fraction. The units that were diagonal, okay, which is the one I had that I was trying to convert from, they canceled every time. So I can't notice how I crossed them out. Do that. And then I just had to multiply and simplify, maybe multiply and divide. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. If you've got a number on the bottom that's not a 1, divide. Okay, if you're just dividing by 1, that's easy. But that's it. It's the same thing every time. So Follow that pattern. Use your table if you need to. On the table, remember, it's one of the named prefix. So 1 milli, for example, would equal the power of 10 of the base. So if you have, let's say, millimeters to meters, it's 1 millimeter equals this power of 10, 10 to the negative third meters. Make sure you're copying that down right so that you've got the right equivalency, you've got the right numbers in the right spots here. All right, good luck.